Bill O'Reilly here. You are listening to the O'Reilly Update. Coming up next, the news with Mike Slater.
Thank you, Bill. It's Wednesday, February 14th, 2024. Here's what's happening today in America. Impeached. $60 billion closer to Ukraine. Hypersonic missiles and Super Bowl betting. It's all coming up. Then Bill's going to be here with your message of the day. But first, the head of the Homeland Security has been impeached. Mayorkas is the first cabinet member to be impeached since 1876. Practically, this will do nothing. This now moves on to the Senate, where they will not convict him or remove him from office. So everything will go on, even if he did resign in shame, which will never happen. There's a long conveyor belt of Mayorkas's right behind him. So he'll stay in office, but it will be interesting to see how the Senate handles the trial against him, and if the Republicans are shrewd enough to make Biden look bad throughout this process. Fun fact about our border, in 2021, there were 450 Chinese nationals. 2022, 2,100. Last year, 24,000. And so far, since just October, there's been 20,000 Chinese nationals coming across our border illegally. Yesterday, very early in the morning, before the sun came up, the Senate passed the Ukraine funding bill, $60 billion for Ukraine and $35 billion more for Israel and Taiwan. But the Ukraine part is the real sticking point. 70 senators voted for it, 19 Republicans. The senators who were against giving Ukraine $60 billion with no strings attached tried everything they could to keep the vote from happening, but their filibusters ran out. So now it moves on to the House. Biden said, "I call on the Speaker to let the full House speak its mind and not allow a minority of the most extreme voices to block this bill from even being voted on." And speaking of Ukraine, we have a major problem here. Ukraine claims it has evidence that Russia fired, the first time in war, a hypersonic missile. So the problem is these things move so fast. We, America, we don't have the capability of defending ourselves against them. We don't have hypersonic missiles ourselves to use, and we can't defend against Russia's or China's. It's believed that this was launched from a Russian ship, which is even worse for us. Hypersonic is anything over Mach 5. This is Mach 8, 6,000 miles per hour. Not only is it super fast, but when it flies in the air, it has what's called a plasma cloud around it, so it's invisible to radars. Massive Super Bowl audience, 123 million viewers. That's a record. Beats the previous from last year, 115 million. But it also set a record for betting, $186 million in bets. The House won, but not by that much. Vegas pocketed only $6.8 million, 3.7% of the total. I'm Mike Slater from the podcast Politics by Faith. Bill O'Reilly with your message of the day. Next.
Our freedoms should never be taken for granted. They must be cherished, protected, and defended. When corporations pander to the liberal agenda, they must be punished. When corporations stand up for conservative values, they should be supported. This brings me to Freedom 2.0, the bottled water company that proudly represents us. They have hilarious sayings on each bottle like, "This water ain't woke," and "bottled with liberal tears." Use the code BILL for a 15% discount and subscribe to Freedom 2.0. We must never discount freedom, but we can discount water as long as you use the code BILL. Please visit freedom20.com to order now. That's freedom, the number 2, the letter O.com. Freedom20.com. Use code BILL for 15% off. Time now for the O'Reilly Update message of the day. On this Wednesday, it is called emotional protection, a device mechanism designed to get us through life. When things go badly or our fundamental beliefs are threatened, we often retreat from rationality. And most of us don't even realize we're doing that. The most vivid example I can illustrate is the Joe Biden supporter. Exit polling in 2020 clearly showed that Mr. Biden's primary appeal to voters was that he was running against Donald Trump. The election was actually a plebiscite, up and down vote on Trump. Biden was simply a name that could banish the flamboyant former president. Now, today, President Biden is a 5-alarm fire, a leader so compromised and befuddled, It is shocking, but some will not acknowledge that obvious fact. They have embraced emotional protection. The unintended consequences of fleeing reality is that reality will eventually knock on your door bearing very bad news. Should Joe Biden extend his administration past next January, Americans will suffer. It's just a matter of how much. That analysis is certain, just so the supporters of Joe know. I'm Bill O'Reilly. I approve the message by writing it. You can reach me, Bill at BillO'Reilly.com, Bill at BillO'Reilly.com, name and town if you wish to opine. Let's go to the mail. Brent, concierge member. Thank you, Brent. Merrick Garland's a party stooge masquerading as Attorney General, so it is more surprising that he signed off on her report. The fact that a loyal sycophant like Garland is facing retribution from the White House shows just how corrupt and ungrateful they are. We don't know that for sure. That is the report, but it's anonymous. But I think that's probably true. Michael, I may be crazy, but I think letting Biden off the documents charge by accusing him of senility is a brilliant strategy on the part of the Dems. No, that did not help the Democratic Party or President Biden. Lloyd, President Trump should not have said anything about Nikki Haley's husband. Are there any briefers that can tell him before speech? No, there are no briefers. He doesn't have, it's not a teleprompter. He just, whatever comes in, comes out. Alice, Trump lost thousands of votes with those two stupid remarks, the other one about NATO. What is wrong with him? You know, he just doesn't have any impulse control at this point. Andrew, with regard to Trump being arrogant and egotistical, well, is he alone in this regard? No, but what difference does that make? He's the best chance to get rid of this Biden progressive crew. No matter if he's not alone. Stephanie Bonds, Highland Village, Texas. Your truth teller, O'Reilly, in your latest column, Dancing with Dementia, regarding Jill Biden putting our country at risk, is spot on. I'm glad you read it. It's available to anybody. You don't have to be a member of anything. Just go in, read my column, read my messages of the day, and you will be, I think, pleased with them. In a moment, something you might not know. If you own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles and have an auto warranty about to expire or have no warranty at all, listen up. Car Shield has a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that's now available to the public. Save on out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. So please call Car Shield now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. 800-925-7584 for a free quote. This protection plan is at an all-time low in price. Drivers who activate the vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. So please call for your free quote, 800-925-7584, 800-925-7584. Hey, what do you have to lose? 800-925-7584. Now the O'Reilly Update brings you something you might not know. 95 years ago today, a gangland shootout in Chicago stunned the nation. The bloodshed solidified the reputation of gangster Al Capone as public enemy number one. Here's the story behind the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. Capone seized control of Chicago's Italian mob in 1924. The passage of Prohibition a few years earlier created a booming underworld of booze, prostitution, and murder. Different criminal crews waged urban combat to control the illegal alcohol trade. Capone's biggest enemy was Irish gangster George Bugs Moran. Bugs ran a bootlegging operation in Chicago's North Side. The gang war reached a bloody climax on Valentine's Day, 1929. 4 mobsters dressed as police officers arrived at Moran's warehouse. They ordered 7 of his men to line up against a brick wall. 70 rounds of ammunition cut them down. The real police were unable to find a single eyewitness to the executions. Though Moran blamed the massacre on Capone, the famous gangster himself claimed to have been at his home in Florida, where he probably was because he ordered the hits. From then on, Al Capone ruled Chicago with little opposition, but his reign did not last long. In June 1931, Capone was indicted for income tax evasion by federal authorities. He was sentenced to 11 years in prison, first in Atlanta, later at Alcatraz in San Francisco Bay. Capone was released in 1939, died in 47. And here's something else you might not know. The brick wall from the massacre site was bought by a Canadian businessman after the Chicago warehouse was demolished. The material was reassembled, then shipped to Las Vegas. Visitors on the Strip today can see the wall on permanent display at the National Museum of Organized Crime and Law Enforcement. Other artifacts include the original screenplay for The Godfather and a shotgun owned by Joe Bonanno. Back after this.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-1102. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-1102. That's 800-575-1102. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Thank you for listening to the O'Reilly Update. I am Bill O'Reilly. No spin, just facts, and always looking out for you.